Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to share with you how I got in Cambridge, from Zimbabwe to Cambridge, which is a video that I was supposed to do for you when I landed in Cambridge. But well, with this whole transition things happen, but finally I am able to sit down and do the video for you. So in today's video I am going to share with you how I started this journey, like from the time I thought about applying to start abroad to the time I prepared for this journey, the application process, to the time I landed in Cambridge. So I'm just going to share anything and everything about my coming to Cambridge from Zimbabwe. So please, if you are new here, my name is Melody Moyo. I'm a Zimbabwean currently in the UK at the University of Cambridge, and I'm studying Master of Philosophy in Educational Leadership and Improvement. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. So the first thing that I need to highlight is the fact that I always wanted to come and study abroad, like as back as to 2018, but I didn't know how to go about the process. I just had it in my mind to say, like, I would love to do my master's abroad, but honestly I didn't know. I remember there was a time when I sat down, I just listed all the universities, like in the UK or in Canada. Then I'll just like go on Facebook or on Google and search these universities. I'll just see the images. I'll be like, oh my goodness, me in this university, So I always wanted to study abroad, especially for my masters. Then the first thing that I did was to sit down and think about the whole thing. Mind you, I didn't know how to do this whole thing. So in preparation, I watched a lot of videos on YouTube. So in other words, I'm saying if you also want to do the same, you need to research. You need to research on Google, on LinkedIn. You need to watch more videos. Also on Instagram, there are people that constantly share ideas about how to go about the whole process. So I also had to research myself, like how do I even start the process? How do I know this is the program that I want to do? How do I apply? I just had to give myself a time to research and watch different videos by different people, just to have an understanding of how everything works. Then the second thing, I dedicated the whole of 2022 to this process. In as much as I was going to work, after work I would stay behind in my office and just start researching and just write everything about the whole process, the things that I was supposed to do. So some of the things that I did to prepare this journey was to gather all the required documents. How do you know the documents that we are supposed to prepare? So I went on the university's website, universities that I had thought I'll apply to. I went on their website, then I searched and I saw the requirements. So when we talk about the requirements, we mean some of the documents that are needed. So I gathered all the documents, and obviously my passport, I had to make sure that I had my passport. Secondly, my CV, I made sure that I had to revamp my CV and make sure that it was going to make me stand out. The other thing was to set my LinkedIn profile. I had to put everything, I just had to make it look nice. Then the other thing was to talk to my lecturers from the university where I did my bachelor's degree. So I told them I was planning to do this, and I was asking them then to write the reference letters for me. So in my case it was something, because I was like applying to 10 universities. So I told them, lucky enough I really had like a good professional relationship with them, which is something that I always advise people. Wherever you find yourself in, you have like good relations with people, so that you don't know where you want to be, you don't know how who do you need in the future. So just make sure that you are a good person, you relate with other people in a good manner, so that whenever you need their assistance, they don't hesitate to do so. So I reached out to my lecturers, and I'm so grateful, because in every application that I did, you know, they just did all the recommendation letters. Then there's the thing about the English test. So you need to prove that you are capable to speak, write, and read English, which most African countries, everyone who's coming from Africa can do that. You know, the basics. So I also had to reach out to other people and ask them how they did it. So in my case, I was applying to Cambridge, like I said in the beginning of the video. So with Cambridge, I had to write the English test, which I did not write. Why? I was like, there is no need to write English test for me. So I sent an email to my undergrad university, and I told them what I wanted to do. So they had to produce a letter which confirmed that English language is the official language in Zimbabwe, is the language of instruction, you know, and they signed and stamped the letter, which I sent to my university. But anyways, it was not enough. We are going to talk about this later in the video. And then the personal statement, I also had to write my personal statement. So a personal statement is just a document where you explain yourself, you tell the reader about yourself, you write the things that you believe are going to make you stand out. So I also had to sit down. Yes, I googled about writing a personal statement. I watched different videos about the personal statement, but one of the things that I concluded, like the conclusion that I made, was to say that there is no need for me to copy other people's writings or their stories. I'm me, and I'm the only melody, like the unique melody. So I needed to write my story as it was, as it is. So I had to be so authentic about my life, which I believe made me to stand out, which I believe my story was picked because it is my story. So in other words, I'm saying, if you want to write your personal statement, make sure that you write about yourself. There's no need of copying from the internet or from other people. Yes, you can read their statements or you can watch videos just to have an understanding of how to write, like the style, the sequence and stuff. So this is one of the documents that I had to prepare. Then the whole application process for me was, I registered with the university on the website. They sent me the link, so it was more of like a portal. So I had to fill in the form. So there was the personal details part, the academic details part, the professional details. So you just fill in your name. It's just a long process, but if you really want to do it, you just have to give yourself time and dedicate the time towards that. So I filled in the details about myself. Then the other thing, like I told you, the reference letters, which they sent the email to my referees and they filled in their forms. I don't know how they did it, but well, they wrote the reference letters for me. So that's something that I did. Then after that, with the Cambridge application, there was a part where you tick the scholarships that you want to be considered for, which is something that makes Cambridge a star university, you know. So I also ticked the scholarships that I wanted to be considered for. So there are also other scholarships like the Gates Cambridge scholarship, the MasterCard Foundation, where in as much as you tick, you also need to apply like direct to the scholarship. So I didn't apply for the Gates Cambridge. I applied for the MasterCard. I also applied for the Bait Cambridge, which funds my studies. So I did that for the funding. Then after finishing, I submitted, I think it was around November last year. I submitted my application. Then I heard from Cambridge like around end of December they told me, I think it was 27 December, I received an email which was inviting me for an interview. I was happy, guys. Honestly, I was happy. At the same time, I was panicking to say, how am I going to do this whole thing? This is Cambridge we are talking about. Mind you, I had also applied to other universities, and at that time I had got in. So it kind of like gave me confidence to say, okay, I can do this. But at the same time, I had to prepare for the interview. So how did I prepare for the interview? Some of the things that I did to prepare for the interview was to read about my course, like the modules, the things that I would want to learn from the course. You know, how am I going to make sure that I complete my studies? I also read about the faculty of education as a whole, then the university itself, and I also read about my interviewers, because like they told me this person was going to interview, this person was going to interview. So I had also to read about them, like their publications, their interest. In any case, they were going to ask me anything related to their work. So I also had to read about them. So then the day of the interview came. It was the 3rd of January 2023. It was a great interview for me. Yes, there were challenging questions, which I believe I did my best. Then I left. I just left feeling that I had, you know, done my best. Then 26th January, I remember it was 9 p.m. I was in my office, you know, still reading more about scholarships and stuff. I received an email. I opened the email. It was like, congratulations. I was like, no way. You have been offered
Cambridge.
a place at University of Cambridge. Wow. I screamed.
What?
I danced. I was singing. I was teasing myself. I was just happy. At the same time, I didn't want to like make so much noise because I didn't want people to hear me screaming. Obviously, I was not prepared to tell them this is what I was planning for my life. So yeah, I got in Cambridge, but it was a conditional offer. In other words, there were certain things that I was supposed to submit for me to get an unconditional offer, which is like funding and English language, because I don't know why they kept on talking about the English language. So in the case of English language, I did an assessment with the university where like it was more of like the British Council English test, because it was reading, writing, speaking, and I don't know the last part, but it was online. It was simple, so I did that. Then I passed. We ticked the language part. Then funding, I was supposed to prove to the university that I am able to pay the tuition. I'm also going to take care of myself in terms of maintenance, the food, the rent and stuff. Yeah, so I was in that dilemma of waiting to get a scholarship. Yes, I had applied for the Bait Cambridge Trust. I also had applied for the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship. So with the Bait Cambridge Trust, you apply after receiving an offer because you need to upload the offer. So I applied after getting the offer from Cambridge. So I continued with Bait Cambridge Trust. Then they sent me an email and they were telling me, we have considered to hear from you. We are inviting you for an interview. I was happy, guys, but at the same time I was panicking. What? You know, when things are just moving so well and you're just getting closer to where you want to be, you just get so much anxiety and you just panic and panic. This was me. There were times I couldn't sleep, but me being a Christian as well, I had to pray and fast about the whole thing. So it really helped me. So I prepared for the interview because they sent us like guidelines on how to prepare for the interview. Then it got me thinking, like, can I just reach out to someone who has also received this scholarship? So I went on LinkedIn and I reached out to a lady called Tanatwa. So Tanatwa was willing to help. She told me about how she did the interview. She also told me not to panic, just to calm down and just like answer the questions. And she was like, if Cambridge has already accepted you, it means that they've seen something, and it means that you go into that room, you just do the best, they are going to give you the scholarship. So I'm happy. Shout out to Tanato because we are now friends. Yeah, so the day came for the interview. I didn't tell anyone, even my parents, even my closest friends. The only person that knew was Tanatwa. So I went to Highlands. There were like six people in the room. I went in. So as I was coming in, this guy came and met me by the door. I was like, hi Melody, how are you? Then he offered me a seat. Then I said, you know guys, the questions were so challenging, to be honest with you. And the most challenging part of it was, as I was answering this person on my right, I will receive a question on my left. So at that particular time, I made a decision to make like eye contact with the person I'll be talking to. So I answer this person, I face them and I answer their question. Then I turn to answer this one. It was like I'm defending myself for life, because some of the questions really needed me to defend myself. So the interview really went well and I felt like I had done my best. Then I left. Then after some time, I went for the interview on the 27th of April. Then 5 May, I received an email. The email was like, dear Miss Melody, congratulations, you have been offered a postgraduate scholarship, the Bate Cambridge Trust. And they outlined like how the scholarship is, like they were going to pay for the visa, what not what, the tuition, the maintenance fee. I was screaming, I was dancing, I was so happy. I was even crying. I started praying. I was like, thank you, dear God. This is what I've worked for. This is what I have prayed for. This is what I have fasted for. And thank you so much. I was happy, guys. I was so happy. I remember I sent a screenshot to Tanaswa to say, girl, I'm coming to Cambridge. She was so happy for me. She was like, you need to celebrate. So it was that moment of celebrating. So in other words, this is how I came to Cambridge. I applied and I got a fully funded scholarship. So how do you apply? Just go on the website, you choose the program that you want to apply for, you look for the requirements, you prepare for the requirements. And the other part is, if there is a need of you paying the application fee, just dedicate some few cents for such a process. Then look for funding. Some funding like scholarships are there on the website. If you want to come to Cambridge, they are there on the website, but the deadline is like 5 December. But for Bate Cambridge Trust, it's 24 February. You still have time if you're going to watch this video, or if you want to apply to Cambridge. So this is how I came from Zimbabwe to Cambridge. Yes, after receiving that email, I had to like apply for the visa, which they paid for, the flights, tickets, the whole process. I started preparing up until I landed in Cambridge. So this is my story, and I would like to hear your story one of these days. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.